someone even pointed out that, hey, none of these new political officers come from Cambridge or Oxford.
That's a dick comment lah. That's a dick comment lah.
Because Jasmine Lau went to Penn, and Penn is the best school in the world. It's the best business school in the world.
In fact, the person who looked like he was least enjoying himself was Shanmugam. You could tell he just wanted to be like, just shut up, just move on.
Yeah, there is a problem with the institution of NMPs right now, right?
There is, yeah.
I think the next nomination of NMPs is going to be very closely scrutinized because people have seen what can happen already.
Yeah.
That someone might just quit halfway and then, springboard into political office. If you love this podcast, chances are that you value real, authentic conversations. Now imagine a conversation like that about someone you love. And that's what we do with our service called Folklory. We hop on a 30-minute call with you or someone you choose and turn that conversation into a beautifully crafted, personalized podcast for your loved one. A gift that shows how much they mean to you that they can listen to forever. We'll use everything we've learned from interviewing more than 1,000 people across 20 countries over the past 5 years, including the Prime Minister of Singapore, and help you create one of the most meaningful things you've ever given them. And if you want to make it extra special, add on our limited edition Folklory speaker, styled as an old school cassette tape, so they can play their story anytime, anywhere. So check it out on folklory.com or reach out to us on WhatsApp at the link in the show notes. And now, on to the podcast.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Yala, your thrice weekly podcast where we talk about the hottest news with a touch of what, Terrence?
Good old humor.
Good old humor, man.
Yeah.
How's the week, man?
Pretty awesome, man.
Why, man?
A couple of nights ago, we partook in a very Singaporean thing. We actually went for one of the Lady Gaga concerts, man.
Is it a very Singaporean thing?
As in, this experience of partaking in a big pop star concert that is one of many concerts they're having in Singapore. In the last couple of years, it's become a thing. Coldplay, Taylor Swift. Now,
but not everybody can go concert there.
Correct. I'm just saying it's happening in the city, and we got to go, right?
Oh, yeah.
It's pretty cool. I mean, on top of last weekend we went to watch a football match as well. Yeah. So that was pretty awesome, right?
Yeah.
Did you enjoy the concert?
Yeah.
You and I, we were invited. Thankfully, I'm very, very fortunate to.
Yeah.
And enjoyed it, right?
Yeah. And I mean, I had never seen Lady Gaga in concert. But she is really a performer,
Why? Why you say so?
Because I mean, you go to a concert with a singer. In your mind, you might think, okay, she's going to be on stage with like a backup band and some dancers and all. But this one is like a full theatrical performance, man.
Yeah.
The stage design, the sets are insane. And it's really like you're watching a half play, half concert. And at a certain point, she was like lying next to a skeleton sleeping. And I mean, I can't sing for shit, but what I've heard is that if you're sleeping and singing is damn hard, lah.
Yeah.
Right, and her voice is insane.
Yeah, she was lying in sand somewhere.
Yeah,
right? Do you think the sand was from like East Coast Park, or was it like they imported the sand or something?
I'm guessing they probably bring the same sand around the world. I don't think they go to a country and like get local sand just to support local. I don't think so.
No, not support local, but they have 4 performances, right? So that's they have enough time, basically.
But can you imagine if the sand got some shit inside, then you get an itch or something?
Yeah.
Cannot. I think the sand must be like very controlled kind of sand.
It's probably really fine, really beautiful sand that like.
Or it didn't look that fine, right?
I don't know, but I mean, for her to lie in it and like.
In fact, fine worse. Then when you lie down, then it gets into all the nooks and crannies.
Exactly, her costume and all, right?
Yeah, so I don't think it's very fine. I think it's quite coarse, lah.
Correct. Yeah. So yeah, it was really quite theatrical thing, quite cinematic, because they chose to use a camera to do a lot of close-up shots that were not the typical kind of concert shots that you see, right?
Yeah.
So at a lot of points, her back could even be facing the audience.
Yeah.
But the camera, because it's on her, so you watch it as a show, lah.
Yeah.
So I found those aspects really quite unique about her performance.
And plus the mic, there's been a lot of shit given to the acoustics at the National Stadium, but the acoustics were great.
Great, yeah.
And I think you can hear her panting in between songs.
Yeah. I think it's deliberate, to show authenticity, like
the Velcro.
How tired she is from performing, and she gave her all and all. Right?
Yeah.
But I did notice one thing. I mean, there was a lot of a little bit of debate online about whether people in the seated stands especially should be allowed to stand up and dance. If they want to groove to Lady Gaga.
Oh, there was debate where?
Not say debate lah. I think someone posted, one of the influencers posted a video of a guy dancing, and then I think Hearsey or someone, told the security person don't stop him from dancing or what. Because I think they were asking him to sit down at first. So some people I saw online, some were like, yeah, do you, girl, that kind of thing. And then some other people will be like, if you want to dance, pay for the ticket that doesn't obstruct other people lah. Don't come and get this seated ticket and then gyrate your butt in front of me lah, right? So there's a bit of a debate about that lah, right? How do you see it at the concert lah? I mean, thankfully in our section, like there was no issue lah. We could stand up and dance and all, or you could just sit down all the way and no one would disturb you or what.
Yeah.
But I can imagine there are some sections where the view would be limited, but if you had someone standing in front of you.
Yeah lah. I mean, I would say, let's say if I wanted to stand up, there's a moment and all, I would check behind me whether the person's sitting or standing.
It's a bit like when you sit economy class and all, then you push your chair back.
Yeah.
There's some people who don't even look back and they just push straight away. Yeah.
I hate that. I hate that. Yeah.
So I do lean back also, but I will check at least first, like, is the person behind me like is
eating
huge,
or even maybe bending forward in their back, eating something.
Exactly.
Yeah, you just do a check lah,
Yeah, do a quick check.
So in this concert, as much as I feel like, if you want to groove, you should groove. But if the person behind me and all is sitting down, I think if I really feel it in my blood and all, then I don't know, move to the aisle or something. But it's weird also lah, because at the same time, like behind, they have every right to stand. But I mean, technically, if it's a seated area, I would find it weird if I just stand up and not caring about the people behind lah.
Correct. Yeah. So I was quite strategic about when I stood up and when I sat down lah. The songs I really liked, in the older songs of hers, then I stood up lah, right?
Yeah.
The songs that I'm like, okay, then I just sat down.
But then, like, what about the people behind you?
There was nobody behind me in my seat, but there were some people to the side lah. But
closer to me lah.
I turned to look and they were also standing already.
Yeah,
or they were using their phones filming at a certain angle, so I wasn't getting that way lah, right? But I didn't want to call you out lah, cause
every time we go to something, you call me out. Why? Okay, come.
Okay, so there was that one song that I think the whole stadium was standing up to lah. It's one of her biggest songs. And it's also like the anthem for people who feel marginalized, like LGBTQ.
And I said, is it?
Yeah. The song's called Born This Way, right? I looked around the whole stadium. Everybody was standing. Everybody in our section was standing. And I turned to look at you, and you're just sitting there with this scowl on your face, like refusing to stand up. Until I think 3/4 through the song, then you finally stood up and all that. Right? Is there a reason why you chose that song to
First of all, Terence, can you tell me what is the essence of the Born This Way song? Just tell me what it means.
Like the title that we are all born this way, there's no choice and all that.
Yeah, and that you shouldn't judge other people.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah.
But aren't you doing exactly what contradicts the ethos of the song?
No, I was watching just your scowling during the song. Like I was thinking, is it not to your taste or something?
See, this is where you are just projecting on me. First of all, the scowl, maybe I was in my thinking phase. Maybe I was thinking about the weight of the song and the message.
I see.
And maybe I had been grooving out too hard to the song prior, so I wanted to rest a bit lah.
Yeah. So you chose that one anthem that represents everything to everyone. That you chose it to sit down and protest.
Don't anyhow associate sitting down to protesting. It is just at that moment I felt like I had jammed out for quite a bit. Okay. And I do believe at some point in the song I stood up.
Yeah, you did. Like much later.
So you missed you nicely missed that fact.
I mentioned it. I just mentioned it.
You didn't mention it.
I did. Okay. You just go and check that. You go and check the Hansard for our podcast.
You just said I was sitting down and protesting.
No, I said you stood up about half or 3/4 way through.
So then what's wrong with that?
I think I'm just asking why you so scowly during that song.
No.
Like
this is you projecting. This is you projecting and being overly judgmental. I think because there was nothing you could call me out for, so now you're just grasping for scraps.
Right. Well, it was and I think everyone enjoyed the concert, right?
Yeah, it was great. It was great.
But I mean, it also happened on a day that was, the cabinet announcement was also on the same evening.
Yeah.
And all. I think I was remarking to you what a coincidence that we're watching Lady Gaga, a lot of religious, sacrilegious imagery, right?
Yeah.
The devil and, Judas and all these things.
Yeah.
And, we're watching it on the same day the Yalabat episode 666 dropped as well. Jeremy Tan. What a coincidence, right?
Yeah, what a coincidence. And I mean, just so happened that the last act of Lady Gaga had her and a bunch of other dancers in white fully in white.
That's
So I
right.
was like, hey, everything is coming together. Everything's coming together.
Yeah, 666.
Yeah, 666.
And I think you pointed out cabinet was also, the cabinet announcement was at 6 p.m. that day.
Oh, yeah, the announcement at 6 p.m.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's all... and I mean, the minister who will be, involved in acts like Lady Gaga has also changed, which we will get to. Because it's some interesting things to cover.
Yeah.
But before that, we have something to clarify about our own live event coming up.
Correct. Yep.
Which is Happily Ever Laughter, a Dream Academy show that we have been invited to be part of. Happening from 19 to 27 June. I mean, we've been getting quite a few comments in relation to the announcement we made last episode with a promo code, which is HELP. So basically, I think a lot of people have been facing issues when trying to purchase because that promo code needs to be keyed in on a page where it says promo password.
Yep.
So you key in there and then it unlocks the promotional discount. And you can also only access the promotional discount by clicking on the link in the show notes and description, because if you just Google it, right, you'll go to the generic public page, but this is a limited link that we are sharing with you. So click on that. And it's only applicable to certain shows and times.
Yeah.
So it's like taking an exam. Like taking an exam. But if you key it in all correctly, you will get the discount. Yeah. So I know it's a little cumbersome, but it should work. But if it still doesn't, just ping us. But hopefully it works.
Yeah. But check the link that's in our show notes, not the generic link, right?
Yeah, correct. I mean, it'll be a fun time. It's a comedy night, 9 shows. We'll be performing in all of them as, Yalabat. So it'll be fun. It'll be fun.
Yeah.
And what else? I mean, if you're new to the podcast and you enjoy it, please remember to hit subscribe on YouTube, follow us on Spotify and social media, so TikTok, Instagram, and Reddit. Thankfully, they've all grown nicely over the GE.
And if you want to work with us, email us at contact@ministryoffunny.com. But really talking about the cabinet changes, right? I think it's something that worth that. It was good that we had a little bit of time yesterday to sit through it and think about it a little. When it came out, the evening that it came out and all, were you expecting it already, or was it a surprise to you?
I mean, I was expecting it by end of this week. I thought it would have come out Thursday or Friday because, I don't know, the past few years felt like whenever there's a bombshell announcement, they tend to come out like before the weekend.
Yeah.
But this one came out Wednesday.
Yeah.
Maybe it's, the PM Wong way.
Correct.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if it's anything to do with it, but apparently there were signs about road closures or something like that for Friday at the Istana.
Oh.
So maybe it was meant for the swearing-in ceremony that's happening this evening.
This evening, correct. I mean, the swearing-in ceremony also, I can't remember the last time. Because it was COVID.
Yeah, correct.
So, but it was still done at the Istana?
Which swearing-in?
2020.
Wong's, probably at the Istana. Yeah.
Oh, I mean, PM Wong, I remember the sweaty night. Sweaty night. So, but 2020 also probably sweaty.
Yeah.
Tonight also will probably be sweaty.
Very sweaty, yeah.
And then, I mean, there was the whole cabinet press conference that PM Wong did at in the afternoon of Wednesday.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll dive into the intricacies, but when you watch that, right, like how did you take it all in?
Okay, I mean, before we just jump into anything, just word of warning. I've just been listening to a lot of Lady Gaga songs the last couple of days.
Yeah.
So I might just end up slipping in some song name puns.
Sure.
Everything I say.
Yeah.
But if you catch them, good for you. It shows you're a true fan. What I think, I mean, it was interesting. I think there was a lot of... what I did want to address also was just there was a lot of speculation about how Lawrence Wong would reshape the cabinet. And, words like big reshuffle and things like that were being used, right? But when the announcement first came and everything, I can't say I was really shocked or anything. There was a lot of tweaking rather than reshuffling, I would say. So in some sense, Lawrence Wong kind of played it a bit safer, with his cards closer to his chest. And it still gave him room to maneuver and all that. Yeah, because I was receiving it via I think updates on Telegram or something.
From God, like that, just receiving.
Yeah, on Telegram.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's called instant messaging. I don't know, where did the God reference come in again?
I mean, receiving what?
Oh, receiving as a message.
Okay. I mean, that's what people would say about God also.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, so as the news trickled in, Nothing really shocking to me upfront. How about you? Like, was it a jaw-dropping moment for you when you heard the new cabinet?
Not really, but I mean, interesting, like, because okay, the one thing when I was listening to the press conference, right? I think to Lawrence Wong's credit, it felt like there was a certain, how you say, momentum, or I wouldn't say inspiration, but it felt more like, okay, we are getting ready for the future, which was totally not present during the elections. And I know there are two very different instances, but listening to it felt like, okay, it was, you can see the thought behind everything. And even when the newspapers were asking the questions during the Q&A, felt like, okay, you can kind of see the logic. You can see the logic. No shocks. I mean, the one thing is, I think this reaffirmed the bromance between Lawrence Wong and DPM Gun.
Yeah.
Like bromance to the max, no? Because, there were a few questions to Lawrence Wong, so how come there are no 2 DPMs, right?
Yeah.
But there's only 1 DPM and 3 coordinating ministers. And I think coordinating ministers, they've come and gone over the past few election cycles, but got 3 lah.
Yeah.
And all super senior lah.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of, he kind of put together a council, right, I would say, almost, because it seems like, he maintained himself and DPM Gun as the front.
The bromance, yeah.
Yeah, but then after that, it's a council, right, of 3 almost, you could say, equal weightage between the 3 of them.
Yeah.
Chan Chun Sing, Ong Ye Kung, and Shanmugam. So, in some sense, you could even see those as like 3, maybe possibly 3 separate camps within the PAP itself, right? Where Shanmugam obviously is, of the earlier generation of PAP, right?
Together with Gan Kim Yong lah. Gan Kim Yong also 3G, right?
Correct, yeah. Gan Kim Yong of age, he's 3G. Then, a lot of people talk about Ong Ye Kung and Chan Chun Sing. At one point, they were the 2 front runners for PM itself, right? So, but now each of them is a coordinating minister in itself, and so this trinity kind of like keeps the power balance between the alleged supposed factions within the PAP in some way. And it seems to me like a bit of a balancing act that Lawrence Wong is doing, right? To try and keep everyone happy. So in some sense, this announcement didn't provide the kind of shocks or the very obvious signs that he is leaning towards, whether it's Chan Chun Sing or Ong Ye Kung or whoever within his 4G team to be a DPM like Gan Kim Yong like that. Yeah.
I mean, in some way, he could be, getting them to face off.
Correct, yeah.
Because one thing Lawrence Wong did say is that these positions, 1-2 years, you can review it. So maybe it's like setting the stage.
Yeah.
There's only 1 senior minister now, right? When previously there were a few.
Yep.
There's only 1, Lee Hsien Loong.
Yeah.
Ng Chee Meng did not make it to cabinet.
Ng Chee Meng did not make it to cabinet.
Even though Lawrence Wong gave this cryptic reply that, the Labour chief is traditionally part of the cabinet, and this is a temporary arrangement, one that Ng Chee Meng requested for, and that will change in the near future.
Yeah.
And then when there was a follow-up question, he said, whether it's Ng Chee Meng or someone else, I can't guarantee. But I mean, it's still...
He looks forward to having the Labour chief in his cabinet.
Correct. But don't know whether it's Ng Chee Meng or someone else. So that has spawned like a whole bunch of other hypotheses, like whether there will be a new Secretary General of NTUC, and how that will factor in the elections for Secretary General for NTUC.
Or even just that they really are giving Ng Chee Meng
a break,
a year or 2 to figure things out. Whether it's create a more positive image of himself in the public eye, right? Before he's allowed back into the cabinet.
I mean, if you think about it, if there was one SMC that you would say, go find yourself. Jalan Kayu got a lot of greenery, right?
A lot of greenery, yeah.
A lot of greenery, go Seletar, look at the plains.
Yeah. Can go eat prata after that.
Eat prata after that. Have some bak kut teh and all. We don't know whether it be him or not.
I mean, there was a lot of talk even before this announcement that, but he doesn't have to be part of the cabinet, but he can still be a minister without a portfolio or Prime Minister's office or that. You got a lot. You heard some of that. What do you say to those people now?
I mean, everybody,
shut the fuck up.
No, everybody has a theory. I think, I've seen quite a few things. Some people said, there will be a new DPM who hasn't been DPM before. Some said that, Ng Chee Meng might become Chief of Defense, Minister for Defense. And everybody has theories. I think even you ask anyone on the street, they might have some theories that may have come true.
But I'm quite tired of political punditry.
Then what are you doing? What are you doing every 3 times a week, Terence?
We're just doing a podcast. We are just trying to process the news. But a lot of times, I find that a lot of these pundits, they speak with a lot more authority than is afforded to them or whatever, And they make the case sound like they know some inside information or very convincing like that. And it turns out to all be bullshit. And I say that only because the whole when the GE would be called for, there were so many people giving us I guarantee you this, I guarantee you this week. This one my billionaire friend tell me one, confirm. So after a while, after the whole debacle of rushing back from my holiday and all that, I was like, all these pundits can...
Then you never go and message them,
that's why I'm asking you, do you tell them to STFU or you just
if they want to share their thoughts and all, you share whether or not I respond, that's up to me but the unsolicited thoughts, I think that's the mark of a pundit
What?
Unsolicited.
Correct, yes.
Unsolicited. He's like, Terence, if I just before I had my own kid, I just said, hey Terence, this is what you should do for 3-year-olds. Here's my analysis, you go and read.
Maybe that's the thing There's unsolicited Yeah. Whereas if someone did ask you what you think and all that, but unfortunately, LinkedIn allows people to broadcast in the town square regardless. So it's a bit annoying. But anyway, I think the point is that I think in a sense, Lawrence Wong is kind of showing that he's his own man also, right? He's not having to pander to any of these pundits' opinions about him and all that.
But at the same time, he also didn't rock the boat
Correct, yeah.
Certain things did kind of there are 9 new office holders, right? Which is, I think, the highest since 2001.
Yeah.
There are new office holders in every ministry. There's some ministerial reshuffles. There are 2 new MPs who have now become acting ministers.
Yeah.
Both of whom were not in politics. There's the former Chief of Army David Neo, who will take on MCCY, and Jeffrey Xiao, who will be the acting minister for transport which for Jeffrey Xiao, he has been director for land transport at the transport ministry before.
Yeah.
But David Neo has been army all the way Then the coordinating ministers are kind of new. But as much as you say Lawrence Wong is his own man, true. It does feel like this was. That's why I say when I listen to it, I felt like, okay, this feels quite holistic. And I thought, to his credit, during the conference, he kind of explained himself and it felt like, not like, a lot of the things we were hearing is like, there's a new world order, these dark clouds ahead. I think last week he had a video address to the attendees of the World Health Organization, and the same thing started. The world is tough, we are in a new world order, and that has almost become like his brand.
Yeah.
But this one, he did mention that, but it still did feel like, okay, this is really what he believes is the strongest team.
Yeah.
So at the end, I was like, okay, he seems very, he's got a lot of conviction. So good for him.
Yeah.
And
I think I think he was really looking at those outgoing ministers in those like the Ministry of Defense, right? I think that's like a very key role for who would take it up, right? And for a long time, I always hear people saying that, Dr. Ng Eng Hen, was a good choice for Minister of Defense because he was not from the military, right? And government is like, you kind of always, it's good to always have like a civilian, a so-called civilian in charge of the military branch, so that there's no balance of power shift in that direction. But Chan Chun Sing is, he's army through and through, right?
Yeah,
so, he came here and we were talking about
education through army references. Every story got army reference.
Army reference. So it seems like they're just going with that. It's quite a safe choice, right? I would say, right? Like, there'll be no questions asked about why this guy is defense minister. He's got the credentials for it, And if anything, maybe Lawrence Wong is confident enough in his relationship with Chan Chun Sing that okay, here are the keys to MINDEF and let's work together.
Yeah. But Ong Ye Kung, he requested to carry on with the Ministry of Health portfolio.
Correct. Yeah.
Because he wanted to see through some of his initiatives.
Correct.
Which made me think we've heard so much about Tong Tong and how he obviously loved the MCCY role. But now he's the new Minister for Law.
Yeah.
So that means he I don't know whether he made a case, to stay as Tong Tong, bringing in Tete and Gaga and all that. But he has vindicated his portfolio.
But in some sense, like this arrangement of things, this arrangement of the cabinet, kind of makes it quite clear like what the hierarchy is, right? Obviously, the ministries in charge of economic, defense, policies are the more important.
You mean like
roles,
MTI
right?
and all?
Yeah, MTI. Ministry of Health. I mean, Ministry of Home Affairs. Right, very important roles. I think Min Law is pretty big as well. So in some way, although they would say Edwin Tong was shuffled, right? The fact that the person who took over Edwin Tong is a complete newbie, right, kind of tells you that it is an upgrade. It's a promotion, if anything, from MCCY to MINLAW. Of course, you don't get to hang out with Lady Gaga or
cannot
Taylor
go
Swift
to
or that.
Vatican City.
Yeah. But as a Minister of Law, you are a very powerful person, right?
Yeah. And I mean, he's been second Minister of Law for the past cycle already.
Yeah.
So now it's just taking that. And I think now he is the second Minister for
Home Affairs. Yeah.
So him and Shanmugam are just...
shadowing.
Two peas in a pod.
Correct. So it is a slight promotion. But the fact you see that two newbies, so to speak, are in charge of the MCCY and transport, kind of tell you about the hierarchy of the ministries as well, right?
Yeah. And I mean, one thing, at least by the sound of it, right? Like the coordinating ministers, it sounds like, although it feels like it's adding another layer, but it addresses... like with that whole NRIC saga bullshit, right?
Yeah.
The thing was that it felt like there was a lack of communication between entities. And then with Alliance, also same thing. Feels like everyone's operating in their own silos. The coordinating ministers, I mean, hopefully there's something that comes out of it. But basically, it was the coordinating minister for national security, which is Shanmugam, then public services, which is Chan Chun Sing, and social services, which is Ong Ye Kung. Which feels like, fairly covering all the dots. I mean, we don't know how that will play out, but again, it felt like, okay, maybe this does feel different from the previous version of the parliament and how that was set up.
Yeah, but I do see that Chan Chun Sing's role, if you think about it, right, he's the Minister of Defense, which is SAF and everything, right? Very big role. And also ties in a lot with our external relations, our foreign relations as well, right? But then he's also the coordinating minister for public services, Which you think about it is a more inward-looking role. It's coordinating the public services, whether it's digital or, about things going on in public, the housing estates and that. So in some way, his role is huge. It's not only like the defense side of things, that means external, defending against external threats, but also internally how shit runs in our country. Also, he's overseeing it. So in some ways, it's a big role, right? It's a very big dual role that he's been given. That I don't immediately see defense and public services as the same umbrella. But that's why I feel like, okay, maybe this is, like what I said, an affirmation from Lawrence Wong that Chan Chun Sing is trusted, right?
Because like Ong Ye Kung, Minister for Health and social
services. Yeah, you can see the overlap there, right?
Yeah, Minister of Law and Ministry of Home Affairs and National Security, also some overlap.
Yeah. It is I do see Chan Chun Sing's role as becoming quite powerful.
But then, speaking of roles, like the one thing is Lawrence Wong is going to continue as Minister of Finance.
Yeah.
Which
correct.
That one felt like, I mean, he did say at the start that, for the things that would ensure Singapore maintains its place in the world order, he will try and leverage experience as much as possible.
Yeah.
He did say that every ministry is going to have new people come in at different tiers. But the fact that he's carrying on as a finance minister, that one I found a bit I mean, I was thinking that there might be a change. I can't remember traditionally. I mean, Lee Hsien Loong was PM and only PM, right? At least for the last one, I believe.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was where I thought, okay, this past year he's already had the dual role.
Yeah.
Which was like insane, a lot. But carrying on, that one I found a bit surprising. I don't know who would have been like an obvious choice. I don't think there's an obvious choice.
But I mean, it's quite like what we say, like the economic ministries are the ones more powerful. So finance under him, MTI under Gan Kim Yong. And maybe it's just personal interest also. Remember, he was sitting here in this seat saying he's a policy wonk.
Yeah.
Like it's all about the policies for him, right?
Yeah.
And if anyone has a very direct impact on like people's lives and all, the Ministry of Finance has very immediate like policy impact on people's lives. Right.
True, but I mean, I guess it just reminds me of like, you know, when he was saying that if we lose DPM Gun, we would lose like we could lose very important ministers, and it felt a bit like, wow, is there no depth in the PAP? So when he said that was one thing that came to mind. I can understand why he wants to maintain that portfolio, at least in the near term, because, you know, when it comes to tariffs, right, a big part is going to impact the economy, of course, the finances, with the CDC vouchers continuing. It's all tied to the budget. So in some sense, and he delivered the budget in February. So maybe for him, it's like, okay, next year maybe he can relinquish it. But for now, he wants to see through his budget. Understandable, but I just that stood out.
The other thing I want to ask you was also, you know, there was a bit of like buzz before this announcement as well that, is Singapore going to have a female DPM for the first time and all that. And then, I mean, it kind of like was a bit anticlimactic. Because if anything, I think in terms of women as political office holders, the ones who are already there, I think the only real promotion was Sun Xueling, right? Yeah. Who, she had bigger roles in MND and MOT. But for everyone else, kind of like status quo, or even they were moved away from certain roles that they played, right?
Yeah. So sausage fest,
I mean, not say sausage fest, but there wasn't this big promotion of a female political office holder to DPM or anything like that. That maybe some people are expecting a very progressive step forward, you know, for Singapore Parliament. So how do you feel about that?
I mean, in some way, I think Indrani's role has not changed, and Josephine Teo not changed also. And in fact, she drops her second minister for Home Affairs.
Exactly, yeah.
So in some way, like, if there's no progression for some very senior parliamentarians like them, I mean, for Jo Teo, the NRIC saga, maybe this is an immediate kind of like repercussion of that. But it did feel like, because I think in terms of female candidates, the PAP fielded quite a good proportion, right? But when it comes to the political office public office holders, it dropped quite significantly. So I mean, I think it would be good if there was more diversity. But I guess, I mean, does anybody come to mind who like feels like they really deserve a place?
But some people are talking to were pointing out that, I mean, like Sim Ann, for example, is a sure shoe-in for MFA after Vivian Balakrishnan, right? She's been there for very long already. And you know, Indrani probably can also even take the role of what you mentioned, finance, possibly even finance minister later. So it could be a matter of time. It could be a matter of time, 1-2 years that we're talking about. But I also did want to say that he brought in Jasmine Lau, the new candidate, at the press conference.
Who's going to be Minister of State, right?
Minister of State for MDDI and MOE, I believe. And I think she also has a role, I don't know, in charge of or overseeing GovTech, right? So Jasmine Lau, I mean, you're from your school, so from your alma mater, Penn.
That means your alma mater also?
Penn, So, what do you think, man? What do you think of her at the press conference?
I mean, I thought she carried herself well. She has this one quote, which I don't think can be attributed to anyone else. There is no time to waste.
Yes.
But there is no need for haste. I googled it, and I don't think anyone else has said it before, or like it's not from an acclaimed writer or something.
Correct.
So that's her thing. I mean, I thought like for a first timer at that kind of like press conference, okay . Because I mean, I know in the interviews, you know, she said she's more introverted and like, you know, But yeah, she held her own. Didn't feel like it was her first time.
Yeah. I thought she presented herself quite well at this press conference.
Yeah.
Like ready to go already lah. Not like not like didn't get that feeling of like a class prefect who just got promoted by the teacher and then thank you to the teacher, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
None of that lah. More like, okay, let's let's talk to all the civil servants and the departments and get ready to go lah.
Yeah. In fact, the person who looked like he was least enjoying himself was Shanmugam.
Yeah.
He was damn fierce. And like when the Tamil Marasu person wanted to ask him a question in Tamil, to respond in Tamil.
He said he'll do it at the doorstop, right?
Because Lawrence Wong already answered in English.
Yeah.
And he started talking without even pressing the mic. You could tell he just wanted to be like, just shut up, just move on.
He just maintained his poker face. And
then that was his only mention.
Yeah, correct.
No, but like when it comes to Jasmine Lau, so basically there have been a bunch of the newer candidates who have stepped up and gotten the POH roles, right? But I think it was Bertha who pointed out that 6 of 7 of them are public servants. Which...
Wait, 6, I thought it was I thought it's 9 of them. 9, so what, 6 or 7?
No, I think...
Okay, there's one doctor, right? Harun is one doctor. And then there's Zulkarnain A. Rahim, who is a lawyer, right? So that's 7 left, yeah.
Oh,
and the 7 are all from public service.
So 7
Army,
and 9 lah.
7 and 9, yeah.
7 and 9. I don't know where she got 6 or 7.
Yeah.
But 7 and 9. And that was one thing that, again, like when Lawrence Wong said that he's fielding a huge number of new candidates and they all come from diverse backgrounds, right? But it just feels like for all these people who are, not to say parachuted, but like elevated or fast track, right? It does feel like, there's a lot of public servants stepping up. And it just, it would have been good if there was more diversity, even though when you look at the people who stepped up, I think they've been hyped up since the election started. And it's only like, Harun and the other individual who are not from the civil service, which, I don't know, feels like it's a lot more of the same.
I mean, it kind of points towards Lawrence Wong's own preferences also, right?
Yeah.
I think people are pointing out the last election, at least like they had like Tan See Leng coming in. And Tan See Leng, very accomplished entrepreneur and doctor and everything, right?
Yeah.
Whereas this one, you don't immediately see someone
like a private sector, private sector stalwart.
Correct. I can't remember, I read a comment or something somewhere where someone even pointed out that, hey, none of these new political officers come from Cambridge or Oxford, that
That's a dick comment lah. That's a dick comment lah.
Because Jasmine Lau went to Penn, and Penn is the best school in the world. It's the best business school in the world, as Trump likes to say, right? But anyway, I don't think you should judge people based on what school they went to.
Yeah.
But there is something to say, the fact that military or civil service seems to be prioritized for political office these days.
Yeah.
And it's probably a reflection of what Lawrence Wong also, what he also believes is important in an effective cabinet as well, right?
Yeah.
Not saying that these people are good or bad, because I think we also have to give them time to prove themselves, right? But I do share that sentiment that, hey, how come it's almost like this is the part of the career track, right, of being a civil servant. Because it's also so quickly you're an acting minister of transport, acting minister of MCCY. Yeah. When just barely a couple of weeks ago, people are making memes about things you said in speeches about the sun rising and stuff like that. So it feels really fast track.
Yeah, and I mean it echoes and rebuts all the people who, publicly said, just because they come from civil service does not mean there's groupthink. There is a risk they take by stepping down from public service to run in elections. This kind of even though it is not out of the 30 plus new candidates, only 9 made it to public office holdership, it does kind of reinforce that.
Yeah.
And then for one of the two who does not come from the civil service, Harun, he's going to be senior parliamentary secretary for 2 ministries. And I mean, there's basically no more parliamentary secretaries.
They're just seniors.
It's all just senior parliamentary secretaries. And then, for these two people who just got voted in, taking on the role of acting ministers for two ministries, there have actually been a lot of people who have either been Minister of State or Senior Minister of State for quite a while now.
Yeah.
Like Bae Yam King, he just got promoted to Senior Minister of State, but he's been in Parliament since 2006 now.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm like, oh, okay, so it's almost like you can see like people who have been there for so long, maybe they're not going to go further, but if people come in and they like Jeffrey Xiao, Ministry of Transport, not the easiest.
Yeah.
And David Neo, MCCY.
I mean, people are pointing out Alvin Tan, right?
Yeah.
Who came from private sector background.
Correct. When became MOS, when he entered, right?
Yeah, but still, I mean, he hasn't had a so-called political office in that sense, right? It's more senior role in the political office, right?
And then, but someone like Harun, who, I mean, I mentioned before that I know him from school, great guy, but the thing with the NMP, still him stepping down from NMP really doesn't sit well. But for him to be fast-tracked, right, they were also a bit like, interesting. Feels like... and then again, it makes me think, is there a shortage of people with caliber? Or is the stepping down from NMP really a non-issue internally? I mean, what if he's assigned to these two ministries, then halfway he feels, very strongly for another ministry? Then what? He stepped down, then go to that ministry.
I mean, that one's not his decision.
It's not his, right, but just feels like... there
is a problem with the institution of NMPs right now, right?
There is, yeah.
I think the next nomination of NMPs is going to be very closely scrutinized because people have seen what can happen already,
Yeah.
That someone might just quit halfway and then springboard into political office,
Yeah,
right?
political office,
which is not what we want the NMP role for. We want the NMP role to be speaking for the public in a non-partisan way, right?
Yeah.
There was damage done to the NMP institution for sure.
And I mean, it's no surprise because like during the rally, Shanmugam himself was playing him and Han Yen up as, leadership potential.
Yeah.
But it just feels like, he stepped down from NMP, got all that backlash. One of the two MMPs didn't end up running in the end.
Yeah.
I mean, don't know whether there was public pressure to not run, but for someone to step down and then be pushed into this, and above Senior Parliamentary Secretary, there's basically Minister of State, Senior Minister of State.
Yeah.
And then in terms of the hierarchy, is Minister, then Deputy Prime Minister, Prime Minister. So fairly senior, man.
Yeah.
It's just 5 removed from the top.
Yeah. On the edge of glory, man.
On the edge of glory.
Yeah.
I mean, and the mayors, they still hold a role.
Yeah. I think also people were saying, that they were kind of sad that, Lawrence Wong didn't, change or at least redefine what mayors are supposed to do.
In fact, he played up, like the fact that they fulfill a very, very important role.
In some ways, at least I was reading up that people are saying it's kind of like what the coordinating minister does, right? There's a lot of ministries and you want to make sure that all the ministries talk to each other and all that. So that's kind of like the role, the coordinating minister. And the same that they would say of a mayor also, like sort of looking across like 30 MPs and what they want to do and making sure there's no overlap of what they do and all. Right?
Yeah, but I don't know, man.
It just kind of like, it feels like, okay, but there's also a coordinating minister here, and then there's, so it's a bit, I also trying to figure out what exactly the role of the mayor is.
Yeah, maybe we should get a mayor on.
Maybe, yeah.
What do they do that justifies earning, 660K a year?
You might not be satisfied with the answer, though, because regardless of whatever they say, the question of whether it's worth like that $600 over $1,000 a year is a...
No, but just ask them day in the life of a mayor.
Yeah.
What do you do? And like, if you're not doing it full time, what do you do? What do you do? So maybe the mayor thing, maybe that should be someone we should get on.
Yeah. Rather than sit here and criticize them without hearing from them also, right?
Yeah, correct. But I mean, and there's a new acting minister in charge of Muslim affairs.
Correct, yeah.
Which is Professor Faisal, who has been promoted to Senior Minister of State, and he's taking over from Masagos. So in the Malay Muslim leadership, there's been a shake-up shake-up. And I mean, like Prof Faisal, I thought he was one of the more senior ones who might be, having his role reduced for new talent. But I guess in the Malay Muslim sphere, he's like new talent. So I mean,
I mean, because there has been a lot of so there have been quite a lot of shifts in leadership in the Malay Muslim community, right? Not even within the PAP, but even Workers' Party also. Basically, they've lost Faisal Manap from Parliament, and even though he was part of the Tampines team, he wasn't chosen as the NCMP to represent the Tampines Workers' Party team. In fact, Eileen Chong was chosen, right? So, I mean, grain of salt, but I read it on the Critical Spectator thing. He's saying that the Critical Spectator thing was saying that is that Workers' Party abandoning the Malay Muslim vote, right? Because now they're going with 2 Chinese people as NCMPs and dropping Faisal Manap, who's like, the so-called the representative of Malay leadership in the Workers' Party and all that, right?
Yeah.
What do you think of that?
I mean, that one a bit of a stretch, I think. Yeah, a bit of a stretch because, I mean, there's all this talk about not playing identity politics, right? But that also kind of like attributes intent, I think a bit unfairly,
Yeah. Because you could swing it both ways, right? Like if Faisal Manap was the NCMP and then not a younger member of the Workers' Party or something, then you could say that they're doing it to maintain the Malay Muslim vote or something like that, right?
Yeah.
Whereas the NCMP role, I always saw it as it's kind of a good entry point, right, for maybe younger, fresher talent who have never won an election to be part of Parliament, right? Which we've seen it, to quite good effect with Hazel Phua and Leong Man Wai in the last 5 years. Although they're not in Parliament now, but at least Workers' Party has this chance to blood these 2 new individuals.
And I mean, Workers' Party will already have a Malay Muslim candidate in Parliament, right?
Yeah. 2 from 2 GRCs. Right?
Yeah. So I mean, feels like it's covered, lah.
Yeah. So I was like, it feels like we're already like GE 2030. The Critical Spectator has started already.
Yeah, man. Yeah. But I mean, the first Parliament sitting will be when? Won't sit in June, right?
I mean, June's about a week away.
Yeah.
So
but they don't sit in June. Right?
Oh, they don't sit in June. Yeah, that's right. Because of days,
Yeah. So July, lah.
Yeah.
They will sit in July.
Yeah. Correct.
Maybe that also factored into having the elections in May, so people can kind of like
long holiday.
No, as in have some time to learn the ropes,
maybe
settle in.
Yeah.
I think it's in July, lah.
Okay. But I mean, like overall, like, how confident do you feel of this new cabinet that's been put in front of you?
I mean, like, hard to say how confident. Even though I saw some comments saying, "Oh, if this is the best team Singapore has, then we're all in trouble." I mean, how do you make that judgment call, right? I think not too many shifts and all, but it feels like more of the same. Yeah. There's nothing I'm like, oh shit. I wonder how this is going to pan out. It feels like more of the same, lah.
Yeah. More tweaking.
lah.
Yeah, than really reshuffling.
Yeah, more tweaking. Correct. So, I mean, I think the more interesting thing is to see how Parliament will function with just 2 parties. Who the new NMPs will be.
Yep.
And how the new NCMPs are going to perform. And just the new dynamic of Parliament.
Yeah. One interesting thing is that I don't think he addressed it all during his press conference about SM Lee Hsien Loong's role in the Parliament, right? And I think when he was here, I was also trying to just understand what SM Lee and the more senior ministers' roles are going to be. But he didn't even address it all in the press conference, which I felt like, that's kind of strange, right? That I mean, he's a very senior presence and respected, I suppose, within the PAP machinery.
Yeah,
but maybe there's a real effort to show that it's my town now.
Correct.
Yeah.
But Lee Hsien Loong just looking after Ng Chee Meng. Yeah. Anytime someone says anything bad about Ng Chee Meng, Lee Hsien Loong will come out and just, he's got his back.
Yeah. Correct, maybe. But yeah, that's the leadership that we're faced with, that we're going to have to live with for the next 5 years.
For the next 5 years.
Yeah.
I mean, it might change along the way.
It might
as
change
Lawrence Wong said, it might change.
Correct.
So we see, because I think changing ministers during the 5 years is possible, right?
Oh, yeah, easy.
It's totally possible, right?
Totally possible, yeah.
So we see.
Yeah.
We see. Cool.
Yeah.
All right.
I know, although we talk about, changing ministers and reshuffling them around is very easy and possible. But what we've learned this past week, it's not easy to move books around, right? Sometimes it's so difficult to move books around that you end up having to destroy them rather than to like move them around.
Yeah.
And normally that'll be if it was some old auntie clearing her house or what, you wouldn't bat an eyelid. But when an academic institution does that and like throws out books, everyone flips out, right?
Yeah.
And which is this academic institution?
It is essentially NUS. And books that were being thrown out were from the library of the now defunct Yale-NUS College.
Yeah.
Which saw its last cohort graduate a couple of weeks ago. And I mean, because the college is not going to be around anymore, right?
Yeah.
I think the space is going to be occupied by the NUS Law School, which is going to move from Bukit Timah into that part of the campus.
Yeah.
There were these books, apparently 9,000 books that were packed in bags. And were said to be recycled. And it was just a student, I believe, who walked by and saw these two gentlemen taking these bags of books, putting it into the back of a lorry, who posted online that, they are discarding these books.
Yeah.
And I think the first response from NUS was that these are duplicate books, and because of their RFID tagged and for security purposes, it cannot be in circulation or sold off or given away, which is why it needs to be destroyed.
Yeah.
So since then, NUS has come out to clarify. Some of their librarians and staff came out to clarify, but it's an entire shit show. And I mean, there's been a lot of talk about it, but when did you first hear about this?
I think, from what you were saying, those couple of pictures that were posted on, I think they were posted on social media, whether it was Wake Up Singapore or one of the other pages, of watching the workers, throw these books into the back of a recycling truck. And after that, I think I followed and watched the response from the school a day or two later, apologizing for the incident and things like that. Yeah, so I don't even, it's not even that long ago where we are having a discussion about the pulping of certain books as well, right?
That was around what? Was it?
I think it was
books that were banned?
Yeah, there were pulping of certain books that were...
the Penguins, is it?
The Penguin books from the NLB, I believe, from the National Library. Yeah. That got people very... I think 2014, right? There were 3 books, children books, that were deemed not pro-family. So one was Entangle Mix 3, The White Swan Express, and Who's in My Family. So they actually pulped or destroyed those 3 books, right? For being not pro-family.
But 11 years ago is a long time, what?
Correct. But as it is still in public conscious, I wouldn't say that people have forgotten that incident entirely, right?
Yeah, correct.
I think what's even more egregious this time is the volume of the number of books that were being pulped here, right? 9,000, you were saying?
Yeah, 9,000.
And they claim that after intervening and everything, after NUS stopped the whole thing, only 500 were pulped, right? Or destroyed.
Recycled.
Shredded.
Shredded
Specifically.
I don't know, pulp just has a word as just very, it's damn sad.
Yeah.
It sounds worse than shredded.
Worse than shredded. Why?
Because it feels like, okay, if I were to ask you if your body were to be cut up or pulped, which one you prefer?
Neither.
I mean, if you had to choose, like let's say after your method of disposal of your body.
Shredded.
Shredded, right?
Yeah.
Because pulped, it just feels like they're just squeezing shit out of you.
Yeah.
So in this case, when you're pulping a book, right, it feels like, it's just being reduced to like a mess.
Yeah.
So shredded, I mean, it's still terrible.
Yeah.
But I will say when I saw this, right, it didn't shock me because it felt, this is totally something that could happen.
Could happen to...
In Singapore.
I see.
Yeah. And I don't know why. Is it... I mean, it just feels like this is a process failure. And somewhere along the way, like people, there was, I don't know, diffusion of responsibility. Like, I think I'm getting used to people in big institutions, maybe acting within silos, but not being aware of how everything comes together. It's like, you hear the same thing, Allianz, NRIC saga, and the scandals of late, it always feels like it's a process gone wrong somewhere. So when this happened, I was like, I mean, I can see this happening as a fuck up, but I wasn't be like, how can they do this? I think it's damn stupid. I think it's terrible. I think
Yeah.
it's damn insulting. But I wasn't. Am I getting desensitized or not?
So
Terrence?
you think that people are overreacting to it?
No. Okay, don't jump to conclusions again. I did not say that. I'm just saying that this sort of
Or the panic on your face. Trying to...
this sort of mistakes it's plausible.
Yeah.
And I think that is what I realized. Like, why does it seem plausible that this kind of shit can happen?
Yeah.
Because
But isn't the context of it being that it was from the Yale-NUS
that one
library?
is sending salt to the wound, lah.
Yeah, it's even worse, right?
Yeah.
Because, the closure of Yale-NUS has been traumatic, to say the least, for a lot of the students. And it really represented how short-lived, the whole Yale-NUS experience was, right? It was an experiment that opened with a lot of hoo-ha and, the idea of a liberal college in Singapore. Wow, how can... And then really it showed cannot, right? And then they shut it down.
And we had one of the student activists, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And I mean, they say it was financial sustainability, right? But I think you hear from a lot of the faculty and the ex-students, the alumni and all, they were blindsided, right? There was no indication that anything like that would happen. And maybe ultimately it was a real failure of comms, but it also kind of killed the dreams of, having such a liberal institution in Singapore, right? And now you take this while it's still licking, people are licking their wounds and all that.
Throw the books.
Then you literally visibly in front of people, just pack up the books in these trash bags and throw them in the back of a lorry. And the bureaucracy gets in the way of stopping the process, even though everyone's outraged and all. That's what really kind of is crazy.
Some more plastic bags, no, Terrence. No more paper bags.
Exactly. Yeah.
Plastic bags.
Yeah.
And I mean, the first response, I think it was a librarian from NUS. She mentioned that, of course, she was heartbroken, but traditionally when they do book sales or giving away books, there's a lack of interest from students. Because that whole RFID thing has been debunked, lah. It has nothing to do with that, and that came from the NUS staff themselves.
Yeah.
But they did say that they weren't aware of the demand for these books from students. Which to me, I'm like, how does that make sense?
Yeah.
Fucking hell, if one of them just open up a Carousel account, right?
Yeah.
Bloody mint, man. You can these books sell. I think one of the pictures was the art of the Charlie Chan Hock Chai.
Exactly, yeah.
Right.
I was going to point out that some people took photos of the books that were available. And yeah, art of Charlie Chan Hock Chai, I literally went to Kinokuniya and bought a copy last time for I can't remember, $30, $40. So it's not something that I wouldn't pay money for, right?
Yeah.
So if you really couldn't find a home in another library for it, or even with your faculty, or even if you're alumni, another avenue could be just give it to people for free, right?
Yeah.
Put it out there, come and collect it if you want,
Yeah. And I mean, okay, some of it might be academic textbooks and all,
Yeah.
but not all of it. I think there's fiction books. You have so many community libraries in Singapore, right?
Yeah.
And the fact is, they did say that 8,500 or 900 books have been rehomed.
Yeah.
And it's weird, right? For them, using the word rehome for books feels like it's normal lingo, right? Which means that you were kind of making these books homeless, lah.
Yeah.
And if you're talking about a home for books, it feels very weird that they so flippantly said, okay, these books have no home, let's just recycle them.
Yeah.
Let's just shred them.
Yeah.
Which feels like, okay lah, someone along the way just thought this was a good idea or this was not a bad idea, and it just ended up there.
But you also heard the apology from the NUS staff and the librarian and all that. In general, what do you think of it?
I mean, I think I'm glad they did say that this was a bad mistake, that they also felt very brokenhearted that these books were going to be recycled, which I thought, I mean, they apologized, but when they mentioned the thing about not being sure of the demand for these books, that's where I felt like, how is that possible? How can you all not know this?
Yeah.
So I thought it was they apologized, but also when they say stuff like that, I'm like, what how does this make sense, lah? But for you?
I cannot believe that they labeled it merely as an operational lapse. Because that tells me that your SOP literally is that you would treat books like you would just recycle or shred them, right? As something before you even think about giving them away for free or anything like that, lah. So that is codified somewhere in your SOP, which, I mean, if your job is even the NUS librarian, your job is as a librarian is to, I mean, it's not about finding homes for books that nobody wants, right? But it's really about cataloging knowledge, right? Such that 100 years down the road, if someone wants to find certain copy or something, they know how and where to find it, right? I just cannot fathom like how, it's like almost like a Hippocratic oath for doctors like that, right? You do whatever you can to help a patient, right? I would imagine, like, isn't a librarian like the thought of like pulping or destroying books just because you couldn't find a home for them, that wouldn't like make you question, is this even the correct SOP to have?
But was it the librarians themselves who were at the last few steps of that SOP? We don't know.
Yeah, but if you're the head librarian or the library, like NUS librarian in general, can you say that you didn't know? It's like what we talk about NTUC Income Alliance, like, if you are the chief of NTUC, can you say that, I didn't know there was this provision and all
True
that?
But then, okay, when you say the Hippocratic oath that doctors take, right?
Yeah.
But I don't think like the admin staff take it.
Okay.
Right? So in this
No,
case...
there's no oath for them, but I'm just saying viscerally,
but then,
like, wouldn't
don't
it
you
be
think
something?
like you're also saying that, just because one person works in this one company, they must place as much value on the items or assets of the company as everyone?
If you're a librarian, yeah. I would say, it's very important that you...
But this one probably, that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know whether the librarians were involved all the way, They might be like, okay, these books need to be, I don't know, rehomed or somewhere. So that's where feels like maybe there's something that went wrong there. And I mean, another thing that I've also seen on Reddit, at least a handful of people, of course, Reddit is, could be anonymous, could be troll accounts. They did say that part of a library's operations is to get rid of old books. And sometimes it's done behind closed doors. So, do you think like this is, like, if we were really to see all the shit that happens behind companies, restaurants and all that, chances are we will all be disgusted.
Sure, if they were all old books and all that, right? Then I understand, maybe they're like the wear and tear of the books and you can't use them anymore. But some of these books were new and they're popular fiction books and curated catalog of books that actually could fit very well within people's libraries and all that. So that's why I'm like, it makes me, the fact that they called it just an operational lapse and lessons to be learned, we'll do better, or that. Again, it just feels to me like they're just sorry they got caught, right?
Yeah.
As opposed to,
why we never do it behind the building?
Why should have done during a weekend or something when those students around, right?
Or use big black
bags, then nobody can see. Exactly. So, there was just this whole thing where I don't feel like the apology was particularly, maybe they took responsibility, but there was no accountability, right? Not saying people should lose their jobs or what, but I just didn't get a sense that they understood the gravity of the situation, like how bad it looks for NUS as an institution, that you're not even respecting knowledge that has been accumulated over human history, like that.
Yeah. And I mean, some of the professors themselves said there was nothing even like an email that said there are these books up for adoption.
Yeah.
And I think another thing also, right, they have known, the administration would have known about the closure of this library since the thing was announced, right?
Yeah.
Yale-NUS will be closing.
Yeah.
So that feels like, walao, how can this be the case? That, and then it makes you look back at that whole decision, like this Yale-NUS thing, the administration really doesn't care.
They don't care.
It's like they don't care about what that means to the students.
Yeah.
This one is like the students all damn sad. You go and poke again. Like, hey, the books you all used last time, right? We can fucking shred it, man.
Yeah.
That's right. It feels like it's an operational lapse, but it's a comms and branding and PR lapse as well.
Yeah.
So it's sad.
Yeah, and I mean, what do you think could have been done what do you think they can do now to mitigate the situation and make it better? Or at least, like, if you were the NUS
head librarian.
What would you have done in the first place? Knowing that there was probably a time crunch or so, right, to sort out, to find a final solution for these books. I mean, sorry for using that term, but literally that's what it feels like for the books.
Well, what term?
Final solution. It's what Hitler or the Nazis used to think about, the Holocaust, basically. They saw it as their final solution to get rid of Jewish people. But
I mean, like start a movement to rescue all books that are going for shredding.
Yeah.
And like show that you can have a net positive of book save to override the 500 that have been lost.
Probably more engagement with their own community, right? Alumni, faculty, get their help to help the books find a home.
I mean, they've all been found already.
Yeah. I mean, exactly.
Yeah,
but even
already.
if they were having trouble, or if the take up from faculty and students not even that good, get them to help find a solution, right? Outside of the university as well, right? So yeah, I just felt like there's so many things they could have done before, reaching that last resort of destroying the books.
Yeah.
But they didn't go there, and they've kind of just said that, it's an operational lapse.
And I mean, if you think about it, the number of the books in the Yale-NUS entire collection is estimated to be 40 to 45,000. So 9,000 is like more than 20%, at least 20%, which is a shit ton.
Yeah.
So it just feels like the people involved, wow, this is just a sad state.
Yeah, sad state.
Sad state. And I mean, it just makes it feel like, or maybe we are just over romanticizing the whole romance of academia and knowledge and all. Maybe Terrence, it's just like your office doing media, we throw out stuff when it doesn't work. Books also the same.
Microphones, cameras, and stuff
the same one.
Yeah. Maybe.
But I mean, the microphones all can stop working. Books won't stop working.
Yeah, books will be there. I mean, if you keep them well, they can be there for generations, right? And educate a whole new bunch of whole new generation of people. So I think that's where it feels very vulgar when you destroy a book like that, It's literally something that you can just give to a young person, and in some sense, you will be able to partake in the same pool of knowledge. With the future, right? The past and the future both. I mean, even today we still read classics from hundreds of years ago. We don't pulp them just because they're old or what, right?
Yeah.
So it's just something very vulgar about the whole thing, as opposed to the example you're saying.
It's like body bags.
Yeah, and as opposed to the example you're saying of us throwing away tools that we use, right? With like cameras and microphones, all. I think it's different because we've used them to the limit already, and they can't be used any further, right? Whereas this one is like, there's definitely still value in them, and it's just very sad what kind of example we're setting also, right, for people when we just, the moment something doesn't fit, the physical constraints, then straight away, let's shred it up,
Shred it, yeah.
Kind of feels like, makes it feel like non-essential part of education.
Something that we have been called in the past.
Exactly.
At a national level.
Yeah. And then it's just an operational lapse to call you that, Harish.
I mean, maybe like what would happen now is, NUS always got these tour groups coming, right? They'll be like, this is the site of Bookgate.
Yeah.
That happened on the middle of May 2025.
Yeah.
Then it becomes like an exhibit of white bags.
Yeah. I mean, and we also talk about this because in the context of what's going on around the world where even the universities in the US are facing a lot of pressure from their own administration to do certain things, right, that they don't feel is right, right? And then there's a lot of tension between the public, the universities, and even the Trump administration and all that, right? So it just feels like, wow, these academic institutions can't catch a break anywhere in the world, whether it's the US or here or anything.
Yeah, sure. I mean, US, the latest announcement is Harvard cannot take international students, right?
Yeah.
But that's like an external party imposing limitations. This is NUS fucking shit up on their own.
Destroying the books on our own.
They're like, what are we? An academic institution.
Yeah.
What do we pride ourselves on? Knowledge. What do? We shred books.
Yeah. Oh, man. I can't believe, we're even saying those words.
Yeah.
Shredding books.
But yeah, man.
But yeah, that's the world that we live in.
The world that we live in.
So yeah, you're going to be watching the swearing-in ceremony tonight?
Yeah, man. Going to.
Oh, nice.
Gonna watch it. And I mean, I can't remember what happens during the swearing-in. I mean, they all take their oath and all, right?
Yeah.
Then you can see how they sweat.
Yeah.
The
exactly.
Opposition parliamentarians will be there also. Probably, right?
Probably, yeah, definitely. I think the whole parliament.
So the question is whether Jameis will, button up his tie or not.
Or how closely they'll be sitting. Or we'll get a repeat of Joe Teo fanning SM Lee from behind her.
Oh, that's true.
Let's see.
That's true. All right, cool. What is your one Shiok comment, man?
I think my one Shiok comment is from Reddit on the episode that we just did, episode 666 with Jeremy Tan, independent candidate. And I think there's a lot of positive comments right, about it. Hello Casper said, Jeremy Tan is such a riot. What a hilarious episode and such a relatable person. Honestly, no airs of arrogance or any inkling of superiority complex. I also enjoy how he approached modern day problems with modern day solutions. What a fun one, and I can't wait to see what else he sees in the future. And hello, Jeremy, in case you're lurking around here. Yeah. So, I mean, I think I enjoyed the episode a lot. Yeah. Enjoyed talking to Jeremy Tan and also, now with the new cabinet announced, like, I guess the question remains, is there space for Jeremy Tan in the PAP?
Oh, yeah. It was fun times. Fun times. My one Shiok thing is, I think there were a couple of posts on Reddit. Okay. So, long time...
You one Shiok comment, right?
One Shiok comment, yeah. Long time commenter Jungle Jimbo. I think the last episode we mentioned that, we were behind the goal at the Lion City Sailors game.
Yeah.
And he managed to go and actually find that timestamp where we are featured like very tinily in the background. So shout out to Jungle Jimbo for the CSI, man. Because the screenshots are quite funny. So thanks for the effort. And what about your one Shiok thing, man?
I can't remember if the trailer was one of my one Shiok things, but I've actually gone to the cinema and watched the latest Final Destination.
Oh, you watched?
Bloodlines, yeah. And I would highly, highly, highly recommend to catch it. It's really, it's quite a blast.
It's good.
It's very fun.
You watch alone or what?
No, I watch it with a friend. Yeah. But it's very funny. It's fun. It's very gory, obviously. But it's not a horror movie that way, It's kind of cringe. Like you cringe and there's a jump scares here and there. But I actually laughed more than I got scared or anything.
But how many movies have there been in the whole franchise, man? I think 4. After watching the first, how is it different? Don't give spoilers away, lah.
You see in the title, Bloodlines. There's something to do with family curse and stuff like that, lah. Yeah. So it was really quite a fun watch, and I haven't laughed out loud so much in the cinema for a while.
Was it meant to be funny, or you're just being a perverse?
No, it's really campy. It's really campy,
really campy,
crazy fun, and the kind that you imagine and you cringe and you squirm and everything. But after that, there's a lot of relief and you laugh and all that.
Okay.
So it's going to get lost in the stream of Mission Impossible coming out, Jurassic World, and all these movies, summer blockbusters all coming. But it's actually a really fun movie, so I encourage everyone to go and catch it while it's in the cinemas.
I see. Cool.
And you?
My one Shiok thing is a TikTok account I came across of a deaf content creator. But what this account is, right, is she lip reads celebrities at public events. So it's like, Denzel Washington asserting his boundaries at Cannes Film Festival. And it's just footage of him talking to someone in the audience, but she lip reads and kind of puts captions over it.
Okay.
It's called Tis Me Jackie IG. TISMEJICKIEG.
Okay.
And Pedro Pascal, Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce at Coachella. So she just basically gives you context of what they're talking about. It's damn fun to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fun to watch. So I think she's been in the news before for lip reading the US gymnastics team getting their gold medals. The Wicked premiere lip reading of Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo. So yeah, interesting. Interesting. Fun, yeah. And it makes the news because, one article is Taylor Swift sorry for being too drunk. Apparently, she was apologizing to Travis Kelce at Coachella, which this person highlighted. So, yeah, it's funny. Cool. Fun, interesting account. Cool, man.
Nice. All right. Nice. So, Singapore, new... what's it called?
New team.
Changed world.
New team. New resolve.
Fresh. I thought fresh team, new resolve.
Changed world.
Changed world.
Fresh team, new resolve.
Changed world, fresh team, new resolve. That's right.
Yeah. So we see and I'm sure Tong Tong is going to miss being the liaison.
I guess if anything, David Neo will be at Lady Gaga tomorrow for the final concert.
Correct.
To represent Singapore. Who knows? We were talking about, wow, it would be epic if he appears on the stage at a point where everyone's wearing white.
Correct. And like, they carry Lady Gaga by her arms, then they carry David
him also,
But he should remember that just because Lady Gaga happened, is not because he
was
now,
there.
it's not because he was there. It's not there. Cool, man. All right. So thanks for listening, everyone. And remember, just follow us on YouTube, Spotify, wherever you're listening to us right now. Follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and Reddit. And if you want to work with us,
email us at contact@ministryoffunny.com.
You can also leave a message at ministryoffunny.com.
Yeah, both ways. Yeah.
Cool. All right. Thanks for listening, everyone. And we'll talk to y'all very soon.